Hello and welcome to Business Standard Views of the Week. What crucial problem lies at the heart of green finance? Is Infosys the only one to blame for the problems faced by the new income tax portal? What are the hard choices before any country with a stake in Asia Pacific amid China's growing naval might? Subscribe to Business Standard and read this week's top opinion pieces to find out. We start off with a thought-provoking piece on how we are tackling the climate change crisis at present. The Bank of Finland has announced that its investment portfolio will be carbon neutral by 2050. Many Western central banks have made similar announcements. Is there merit to such moves or is it just posturing? While answering that question in his latest column, Rathan Roy also reveals a crucial problem with the motivations that drive green finance today. Keeping in mind that our actions today will decide what sort of a world we leave behind for our future generations, he envisions a way forward that will not only safeguard the future for the grandchildren of the rich, but also for the grandchildren of the poor. One hopes that an equitable and just solution will be found for the climate change crisis. Meanwhile, on the topic of facing a crisis, Infosys had a lot on its plate lately. The new income tax e-filing portal is not yet free of glitches, even as the deadline set by the government for Infosys to fix them has expired. The affair has seen one of India's marquee companies being named and shamed by the government repeatedly, and there is no denying that Infosys must take a major part of the blame for the problem. But that doesn't mean it's the only one to blame. In his latest column, Shyamal Majumdar reveals how oversight on part of government officials and the flaws in the way the government structures its technology projects also contributed to the present mess. While it remains to be seen if the government's relationship with private industry will improve anytime soon, let's understand the dynamics of China's growing naval might and dominance in East Asia. We have an incisive piece that delves into the matter. The big announcement this week that the US will help Australia acquire nuclear powered attack submarines comes against the backdrop of China's growing naval power, particularly in East Asia. Clearly, Canberra has picked a side. But what about India? What options, if any, does New Delhi have? And how are things likely to progress in the Indian Ocean region? Answering these questions in his latest column, T.N. Nenan highlights the hard choices facing policymakers with stakes in the region. Staying with the topic of dealing with China, next we delve into the momentous changes taking place in that country. The Deng Xiaoping era of reform and opening up in China is fading. Since coming to power in 2012, Chinese President Xi Jinping has made major departures from the key policies associated with Deng. Shyam Saran's latest column outlines the key changes brought about by Xi and explains the rationale behind recent developments in China, like the Common Prosperity Drive. Saran also reveals the direction in which Chinese politics and foreign policy are moving and the implications for India. Hopefully, India and China will be able to manage the relations without getting into further conflict. Now, we move from geostrategy to corporate affairs. Is a great company board just an assembly of top class professionals? What can boards learn from the successful sports teams? Governance thought leadership has been dominated by accountants, lawyers, and company secretaries. However, there is a fourth aspect that is missing. What is it? Answering these questions in his latest column, R. Gopalakrishnan delves into the training and skills every aspiring director must possess. India Inc. will do well to focus on good governance and reap the rewards down the road. Moving on, we round up this episode of BS Views of the Week with two editorial comments on recent government policy announcements. Let's jump into the first one. The government has announced a major new production linked incentive scheme aimed at reviving and transforming the automotive sector. Business Standard evaluates the two distinct aspects of the scheme for the potential, their design, and the effectiveness. In doing so, it highlights the flaws in the government's recent industrial and trade policy that need to be addressed on an urgent basis, lest India's growth trajectory be left compromised. Hopefully, the government will reverse the course where it has gone wrong. But there's good news on the policy front too. The relief package for the embattled telecom sector has come just in the nick of time, and the government's intent and decisiveness in this matter should be lauded. But what must be done going forward? Business Standard prescribes what the telecom companies themselves must do now to prevent the sector from becoming a duopoly and to prepare India for a digitized future.
If you like this video, share it and subscribe to Business Standard. For more news, views and insights, log on to www.business-standard.com. Do also follow us on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Telegram and LinkedIn.